winning is everything to me, and the fact that I was playing the way I was playing and it wasn't resulting in the wins just, wasn't enough. So the frustration level was definitely at a high at times, and because you're just trying to figure out how can you be better and figure out how the team can be better, and then you get hit with COVID protocols, and guys are in and out, and then you get hit with injuries, things of that nature, and you never just really get a full sample size of what the team can possibly be. Because I was watching the game last night, and I think last night was our 40th starting lineup, or 41st. That's literally half the season. 41 starting. Wow. So it's just you never get an opportunity to see what the ball club could have been. So, but definitely frustrating for sure.
You sit on a throne of lies.
So I feel very comfortable saying LeBron could have easily won the scoring title, but that's not what he chose to do, because he realized had he chased the scoring title, everything that he had said up until that moment would have been a lie. I don't play for numbers. I don't chase stats. I play within the ball game. Everybody, what about these stat padders? Everybody, LeBron stat padding. Oh, he's stat padding. He plays in the ball game 35 minutes, 37 minutes, 40 minutes, because that's what it takes to win the game. He's stat padding. He gets hurt. Oh, he injury prone. Kobe would have never left his team. MJ would have never left his team high and dry like that. Well, I was like, damn, can we find a common ground? Can we go somewhere between he's not leaving his team high and dry till he's not stat padding? Can we meet somewhere in the middle? Is it possible?
If memory serves, you came around to my position fairly quickly when this first came up, and you said, go for it, Ron.
Yeah, selfishly, right? Yes. Oh, absolutely, I wanted him to go for it. Absolutely.
Okay, would that not have hurt his reputation?
Skip, I'm saying selfishly, I wanted him to do that. But knowing who he was, that's not what he was going to do. Skip, I didn't say I didn't play for stats. I didn't say I don't chase numbers. I didn't say that. That's what he said. He said he prides himself on playing the right way. He's always told you, I can lead the league in scoring if I just want to jack up a bunch of shots, but I choose to play efficiently. I choose to play the game the right way. So that wouldn't have been the right way in his eyes. I'm eliminated. All I'm doing is playing now is for self-gratification, something that I don't believe I've done since I've been in the NBA, since I've done my whole career. Be it NBA, whatever. He says his high school, his Pop Warner coach told him, share the basketball, everybody get some of the pie, everybody get some of the love. Okay. So I believe that's the way he plays. Had he done the opposite of that, then you been right here. Hey, we got that. Can we pull up that quote that LeBron said about playing the right way? That's all you looking for. You looking for quotes.
By the way, speaking of quotes,
there you go.
I love this expression, the most wackest thing ever.
Whack.
It's actually a redundancy. You didn't really need the most.
It's
just
the wackiest.
Do the wackest, right? But I like most wackest.
Yeah.
When I read it, I think, I thought, that's clever to me. All right, who's the shrewdest operator in sports?
Now he's shrewd operator.
It's LeBron plus Maverick plus Rich. I'll even throw Randy into that. I'll throw Shannon Sharpe into this equation. The fifth horseman. Shrewd operators.
Okay, so how are we operating? So what we trying to get done here?
So it surprised me at first yesterday that LeBron didn't go right for the injury excuse, because he just said, the first thing out of his mouth should have been, I was hurt. I couldn't go. I was hurt.
No.
But no, he's dismissing it as most wackest because he's saying, that would be beneath me. I don't do that.
Yeah.
Yet I kept showing you the numbers coming out of All-Star break. All of a sudden, his scoring average skyrocketed up toward 40 a game. He was getting 50 a couple nights. And the assists were plummeting because he led the league in assists, 10.2 a game in the bubble time. And all of a sudden, after the All-Star break, in those, say, 15-odd games that he played post-All-Star break, his assists dropped to 5.5. So they're almost half of what he used to do when he led the league in assists because he was just gunning, man.
Yeah, but also
he was gunning for the scoring title.
But also, what about their offensive efficiency? So who's making those shots? You tell me Russ is a terrible three-point shooter, the worst in the NBA. He shot 44% from the floor. AD had a career rush from the three. He had a career worst from the floor. You look at the guy. So who is he throwing? So I want you to tell me who's the guy that's going to get him this 10, 11 assists total.
Malik Monk. Avery Bradley, DJ Augustine, who's been lethal from three since he came to L.A.
No, Skip.
He's a good
No,
three-point shooter.
Skip. He had a couple of games. That Cleveland game, the Toronto game, yes. But you look at the last 4 or 5 games DJ Augustine played and tell me he's been lethal shooting the three. Malik Monk has played. I love Malik Monk, but he had some cold stretches also. Carmelo was basically doing what he did in the crib.
Yeah.
It was once we left the crib, all of a sudden Melo, the three ball wasn't nice, kind of Melo.
Okay, so I believe that this triumvirate here got together, the shrewdest operators in sports, and they said, you know what? We think that the injury excuse is more valuable than the scoring title. I disagreed with that. I think the scoring title would have been more valuable to his legacy, to his quote-unquote GOAT argument, than the ability to say, well, I was just hurt. I couldn't play the rest of the way, so that's why we missed the play-in tournament, because I turned my ankle. But they valued that excuse, and I still believe it's an excuse, more than they did.
So in other words, he didn't turn his ankle.
I think he turned his ankle, but I just showed you 21 points in the third quarter against New Orleans, and then he just spit the bit.
Can I ask you a question? Have we not seen great players do Herculean things while they're hurt?
Sure.
Yes or no? Okay.
You know, but while they're hurt, you usually see evidence, as we saw from Tiger. He's limping for 72 holes. I didn't see LeBron limp at all through the 21 points. I didn't see a flinch. I didn't see a grimace. I didn't see a wince.
LeBron didn't almost lose his leg. I mean, I'm not comparing.
Okay.
I'm not comparing Tiger Woods to LeBron's situation.
No,
but it's funny.
You can see it.
But it's funny. You couldn't see Tom Brady limp, but you take that to your bank. Why? I just need you to tell me why can Tom Brady say if I played with a torn MCL and you take that to your bank, you watch LeBron turn his ankle over and you say, oh, that's an excuse.
Because I told you I was courtside when Isaiah pulled off 25 points in the third quarter of Game 6 of 1988 Finals, and he could barely walk.
Okay, but Skip, I've seen Phillip Rivers play with a torn ACL, play a game with a torn ACL. You just said the injury vary, the pain threshold varies from athlete to athlete, person to person.
It's more the stability, the MCL you can get away with.
Okay. But did you see any limp from Tom Brady when he was scrambling, picking up those yards and doing that? Did you notice anything?
Did Tom Brady need surgery after that season? Yes.
Hold on, that's what they say. That's what they say. That's what they say. That's what they say.
Well, that's a fact.
The chronic excuse maker. How do you stop making excuses? This is actually pretty simple. And I said it the other day, and you have to realize, you have to know.
Guys like this brace, huh? Guys like this cast, huh? You want me to sit right here for it?
You have to accept that all your excuses are lies. They are lies, all of them. Think about the things that you tell yourself, the lies you use to rationalize taking the easy road. Taking the easy road and leaving discipline behind. Think about them. You don't have time. That's a lie. You don't have support. That's a lie. You don't have the equipment or the gear. Lies. You don't know the best way. Who cares? That's a lie. Or you're too old. Of course you're too old. Sure you are. That's a lie. And you're too tired, or you're too sore, or you're just plain not feeling it. Lies, lies, lies. And the list goes on and on and on. And it doesn't stop if you don't make it stop. So recognize. Recognize the excuses are not valid. They aren't. They're fabricated. They're lies. And how do you stop the lies? You stop the lies with the truth. The truth. The truth will set you free.
Everybody can recover, and they can get the AC fixed also. Because it's broke.
Well, that's the problem you have with them because that's how you're built, and I understand that. And I don't necessarily think that you're wrong when you bring up those comparisons. Fair enough, but I think that we have to really, really crystallize and bring this home. This is the worst season of LeBron James' career. Because I'm not talking about his numbers, and I'm not talking about what he did as a player. I'm talking about what he's a part of. The GOAT conversation is officially over. It was never there for me. It was always Michael Jordan first, LeBron second. But if ever there was any doubt, this cemented the fact that LeBron James cannot be considered to GOAT. That conversation is over. And you know why it's over? Because LeBron James was on the Lakers averaging 29, 30 points a game, and this still happened. If he was injured and missed games and he was playing hobbled and we looked at him and he's averaging 16 or 17, you know what? You can get away with that. We can look at him and say, damn, he was really hurt. He just wasn't healthy. Oh, no. You were good enough to average 29 a game. How come you weren't good enough to get your troops in order so you could be a respectable team? This is a man that spoke out and said he was against the plan. Now you ain't even make the play. Okay, the New Orleans Pelicans, without Zion Williamson, and the San Antonio Spurs, years removed from the retirement of Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and Tony Parker, nowhere close to 500, they are going to the playoffs ahead of a team led by LeBron James.